drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll off 'em. Op 'em. If he reach, then I'll pop 'em. Street sweeper, I'll wash 'em. Homicide, come and chalk 'em. Drop 'em. One hook and I'll rock 'em. One more and I'll stop 'em. Call the fighter, I'll off 'em. Op 'em.
You are now tuned into the Boxing Bros. I'm Caden. I just want to say, we got our award show coming up soon, but not too soon. It's coming up. But this episode, after we talk about a few topics, we're going to dive into our prediction episode, which is what we're adding when we predict what we think is going to happen in 2023. I'm here with my co-hosts.
What's going on, everybody? It's the commissioner, $12 bill.
And this is G. What's good?
And it's the TBE. Happy holidays, everyone, man.
Happy holidays, man. All right. The first topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros is Team Avanesyan files an official complaint over Terence Crawford's gloves. We're going to take a look at an article that was posted by Boxing Scene. All right. Let's take a look. So Boxing Scene, the title, Team Avanesyan files official complaint with Nebraska Athletic Commission over glove scandal. And so here it is. David Avanesyan is prepared for a legal battle to remedy the controversy surrounding his latest in-ring fight. An official complaint has been filed with the Nebraska Athletic Commission on behalf of Avanesyan, addressing the manner in which Terence Bud Crawford was permitted to continue with a pair of defective boxing gloves during their WBO welterweight title fight. Crawford scored a highlight reel 6-round knockout in December 10th BLK Prime pay-per-view main event at Shy Health Center in his hometown of Omaha, Nebraska. The start of the sixth and deciding round was delayed when referee Sparkle Lee called time upon observing that both of Crawford's gloves provided by Everlast were coming apart at the seams. Avanesyan, a Russian-born Armenian who was based out of England, was ordered to stand in a neutral corner while Lee escorted Crawford to the ropes where his gloves were examined by a member of the Nebraska Commission, as well as on-site WBO supervisor Russell Mora. The decision ended with the agreement that they would allow the round to proceed before switching out the gloves to Crawford's second approved set before the next round. Of course, there would not be a next round. However, it hardly means the end of the fight. I have serious concerns over the issue that preceded the stoppage, specifically relating to clear and obvious defect in Terence Crawford's gloves. The origination of the same, which do not appear to be the exact gloves presented at the rules meeting, Neil Marsh, Avanesyan's manager, wrote to the NAC Deputy Athletic Commissioner Brian Dunn in an official letter, a copy of which was obtained by BoxingScene.com. I am sure you are aware that prior to the knockout, both the referee and the commission raised concerns that the stuffing was visibly coming out of split gloves of Terence Crawford, which was sufficient for a timeout to be called. The referee correctly called the timeout and counseled the commission, and I assume the WBO supervisor who inspected the defective gloves before the referee stating, "Let this round go, then go and get another one." Allowing the fight to continue was, in my view, both irresponsible and negligent, and such action placed Avanesyan in additional danger. According to Chapter 4, Rules 6.01 and 6.02, gloves of the NAC Rules and Regulations, all gloves must be furnished by the promoter in new or in good condition, and also whole, clean, and in sanitary condition. The third and final part of the rule states that all gloves must be examined and improved by a commission official. If any padding is found to be insufficient or the glove are otherwise imperfect or ill-fitting, the gloves must be replaced before the bout can begin. So Rule 604 stipulates that if a glove breaks or a string has untied during the bout, the referee will instruct the timekeeper to take a timeout while the glove issue is being corrected. All gloves must be checked by a commission official prior to the start of the bouts. Any snagged, torn, or unfit gloves will not be approved for competition. So any snug, torn, or unfit gloves will not be approved for competition. Prior to the 6th round, Antonio Tarver, former light heavyweight champion who was part of the BOK Prime broadcast team as an expert analyst, noted the defect of each of Crawford's gloves, but was unsure if it was just the color scheme. An up-close live camera shot of the ring side inspection showed the padding emerging from the side of each glove. Lee was heard on camera confirming that we're going to do this round and then go get the other one, referring to the second set of commission-approved gloves. The fact that the bout was permitted to continue under those circumstances came as a surprise to the ringside broadcast team. Both gloves are busted open, Tarver observed. Look at this, former 2-division champ Paulie Malignaggi stated on air as Crawford and Avanesyan were instructed to resume action. That is strange, noted lead commentator Todd Gresham. You would think that the cut in the gloves, if Crawford were to hit Avanesyan the right way, it could slice open his head. Crawford proceeded to close the show, landing a left uppercut and a right hook to put Avanesyan flat on his back. The fight was immediately waved off at 2 minutes and 14 seconds of the 6th round. Rarely do gloves disintegrate in the manner in Everlast have vast experience in manufacturing. The complaint pointed out, however, used gloves can split at the seams, which raises suspicion as to whether these gloves had been previously worn and dried up, weakening the construction and stitching. However, whatever the cause, the fact remains that these gloves were defective, and this became apparent during a contest. And even when highlighted by the referee, no action was taken, and Avanesyan was knocked out by a fighter wearing defective gloves and potentially dangerous gloves. I am sure I do not need to stress the legitimacy of this fight, and the result must be brought into question if these gloves are found to be contrary to the regulations. The gloves controversy was addressed largely through social media in the days that followed. Among those quickly to voice their opinion was veteran cornerman and noted industry expert Russ Anber, who is also president and CEO of Boxing Gear, whose gloves were worn by Avanesyan. Can anyone confirm that this is real, true, and accurate picture of Crawford's gloves? Anber openly questioned on December 12th, tweeting a post containing a photo of fight night gloves worn by Crawford. Has this photo been tampered with? ? The gloves in this photo are used. These are not a new pair of gloves. And that's not my opinion. That's a fact. I can prove it. So that's what was tweeted by the guy from Rival. Glove manufacturer Everlast released a statement taking ownership of the visibly faulted gloves that made its way to Nebraska. During the development cycle of the custom fight gloves used in Crawford versus Avanesyan, a batch of defective leather was used in production, resulting in a malfunction during the competition. The company stated in an official response to the controversy. In such cases, Everlast follows proper protocol by providing backup competition pairs to be replaced pending a decision by the sanctioning body overseeing the fight. A stoppage was called to review the equipment malfunction, and commission deemed the equipment was still suitable for competition. No foul play was at hand, nor was there any tampering of product on behalf of Terence Crawford and his camp. So that's a statement released by Everlast. The greater concern on the part of Avanesyan's team is not so much with Crawford, but with the chain of custody and the commission's overall handling of the matter. Whilst we reserve our right in respect of Everlast quality control in this manner from the outset, we wish to state at this stage there is no inference are indeed evidence to suggest that Crawford's team may have tampered with the gloves in any way or at any stage, noted Marsh. But clearly, questions must be asked in matters addressed, as it is our view that the outcome of this contest was or could have been influenced by defective gloves being permitted to be used, particularly in round 6. We wish to investigate the timeline and process that was followed from the presentation of these gloves at the WBO rules meeting to the moment during the fight, just before the knockout, where the referee and the commission both raised concerns as to the apparent fault in Crawford's gloves. So here's the questions and the demands of Team Avanesyan. The answers demanded by Avanesyan and his legal team include lead counsel Leon Margals are as follows. So 1, when the commission approved the Everlast gloves for use, were they thoroughly inspected and were they provided directly to the commission in the original sealed packaging of Everlast? 2, were the gloves put on Terence Crawford, the same gloves unworn and new that were presented in the rules meeting? 3, were the gloves sent directly to the commission from Everlast? And if they were not, were they provided in the sealed manufacturer's packaging of Everlast? Avanesyan's team confirmed that the printed Everlast logo was not on the transparent sealed packaging that we are used to seeing. 4, who added the TC logo to the gloves? 5, did the gloves remain with the supervisor/referee following the glove selection and until presented to the locker room? 6, was there a commission inspector in the dressing room throughout? 7, did anyone from Team Crawford have access to the gloves and break the original packaging prior to the rules meeting? 8, why did the referee and commission not insist on the gloves being changed immediately? What was the reason for this? 9, why was it deemed appropriate to allow the round to continue with a fighter wearing visibly defective gloves? 10, at the conclusion of the bout, did the commission seize the gloves and spares with a view to investigate the defect, cause of the defect, and as evidence? Whereas the gloves now, where are the gloves now? Are they available for inspection by an independent party? Based upon the above, we wish to lodge a formal complaint and request that the questions be answered by return so that we can pursue this matter legally and through the courts. If necessary, should the following questions not be satisfactorily answered, stated Marsh, as presented stands, Crawford 39-0 with 30 knockouts is credited with the 6th successful title defense of the WBO title he claimed in June 2018, while having recorded his 10th consecutive knockout. Avanesyan 24-4-1 with 17 knockouts saw a 6-fight win streak, all inside the distance, come to a close in his first major title fight, having previously held the secondary version of the WBA welterweight title. The best case scenario as it would relate to having the loss removed from Avanesyan's record would be for the Nebraska Commission to exchange the verdict to a no contest. A greater legal battle is expected to come of the matter, given the faulty manner in which the situation was handled and the questions raised in the aftermath. So this article was written by Jake Donovan, who was the senior writer for Boxing Scene. So that's currently what's happening with the TC situation. So there's a lot in there, but wanted to get all that out there so that, because you know how it is with people. So I'm going to turn it over to Kaspira G. What's your reaction to all this news, the controversy, the request to the commission, everything? What's your reaction to it?
So let me start off by saying this. I finally got to see the fight. Salute to BLK Prime for putting it up on YouTube, and I thought, it looked like a spectacular event. I liked the production. Everything was cool, and going into the fight, I thought, you know, Avanesyan did his thing. He did okay. But when I seen the gloves, and I'm still standing by the same stance that I had in our previous segment where we talked about this. Like, and I understand officially the commission should have did what Trill and Caden said last time, yada yada, whatever. But if I'm like, bro,
sweep that to the side.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, I agree with the commission. Like, yeah, we'll change that next round, yo. Just get on with the show, yo. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, so it's just ripped by the thumb area. There's no cotton or anything that's falling off. The pattern doesn't look like it's declined in any way. You know, just let it rock. We'll switch it out, right? So then now, with all of this, I have to say, and this is me being like humble. I'm not even trying to be disrespectful, but your boy Avanesyan sounds like a sore loser. And here's, bro, I've never heard of dudes talking about, you need to do an autopsy on gloves, fam. Like, fam, if you seen how he got knocked out, this dude was out cold. Like, it's not like, bro, that 2-piece was major. And I'm like, are you really gonna blame that 2-piece off of that the synthetic leather of Everlast gloves, bro? Like, nah, that was all TC right there, you know. So I'm like, fam, you got knocked out cold. He was knocked out for mad long, like he was gone. Like, this dude seen his maker, you know what I mean? So I'm just like, why are you out here now with a whole new story, complaining, talking about lawsuits and all this stuff? Like, yo, fam, if you're upset, I get it, but you lost. It's not like you was winning and then out of nowhere the malfunction of the glove or something prevented you from competing. It was just a clean 2-piece, an uppercut hook, and you was gone. Like, literally, it was so bad. Yo, Ned, I don't know if you've seen the fight, but if you've seen this knockout, it's like, Avanesyan, I don't want to hear nothing from you, bro. Like, you should have
had better things to do with my time.
You should have just said the better man won. I got worked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and shame on the UK, shame on Russia, shame on Armenia, shame on all y'all for even co-signing this. Like, I'll be like, yo, fam, don't disrespect us like this. You got beat by the better man.
The views and opinions of G, and all the other faces you see on the screen.
I know y'all gonna clean it up after. I'm just being honest. Did the commission mess up? Maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. But Everlast took full responsibility. I'm gonna be honest, right? I'm assuming, like, is this? I'm like, because Avanesyan's team reviewed the gloves also, and then out of nowhere, now they're talking about, these look like different gloves. I don't know. I'm like, yo, fam, you was there. Like, how you gonna now say these were different gloves? You should have made that complaint before the fight. You know, like, you should have been like, hold on. Yo, why the logo on the other side or something? You know what I mean? Like, so I'm assuming they're now implying these gloves are tampered, right? If you believe that, hey, rightfully so. But why did you go on with the fight and not make that complaint before the fight? What it sounds like to me is a sore loser. You got worked in the ring, you got embarrassed, you woke up and you're like, what happened? And then your team's probably like, yo, we just gonna blame the gloves, fam. You Gucci, don't worry about that. You know, so now my official answer should be, yeah, give him a no contest. But nobody wants to see that rematch. But honestly, maybe I do want to see the rematch now. Because now I want to see TC knock him out again. Because it's like, it's not that serious. Like, I honestly think this dude is forcing it. His team should be ashamed of themselves. You should really be ashamed talking about now y'all want the gloves so y'all could do an autopsy. Like, yo, quit the cap. This is outrageous, you know? So it was the 10th bullet. Like, yo, we need to see the gloves so we could examine the gloves. What you gonna find on them gloves? You know what I mean? Like, you seen what happened. What you gonna say? We determined that it was cut due to.
I'm trying to ask you a question. Someone knocks out one of your sons in a manner in which Crawford knocked out Avanesyan. Now, your son has been in numerous fights, never been knocked out like that. You've seen several of the guy who your son was fighting. You've seen several of his fights. He never knocked anyone out like that. And there was an issue with his gloves where one glove split on the side, the other has padding coming out. and the commission saw it, and they let him go out, and then he knocks your son out like that. You mean to tell me, for your own peace of mind, you're not gonna want to examine those gloves?
Hold on. Y'all want to know my real answer? I'd have been like, cha-ching, we getting paid. I'm not even gonna lie to y'all.
So why you mad at Avanesyan right now?
But what I don't
that's hypocritical.
You know why? It's not necessarily hypocritical, because I get it, right? But he's making a big deal out of this. Yo, stay silent, bro. Just be like, yo, commission, answer these
questions. He got beat. He got hit
but think about
gloves that shouldn't have been approved or shouldn't have been worn by a fighter.
I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. If Avanesyan was my son, I'd be like, yo, you could go for that no contest, but bro, you lost. What you need to do is sue Everlast. That's what I'll be doing. Or we're gonna sue the commission, the Nebraska commission. Either way, you're gonna get paid. But all of this, like, yo, I lost because of the gloves. No, you didn't. You lost because you just didn't have the skill necessary to win. That's the truth, you know. But if he wants to blame the gloves for why he got knocked out, whatever, that's cute. I'll give you that. Just focus on getting paid, bro. Go ahead.
How do you form a suit against Everlast to get paid for the gloves being defective if you don't get to examine them?
Bro, are you serious? It's clear as day they were defective. That's why Everlast made a public statement saying we messed up and we gave.
I get it. I get that. You have an admission, but physical evidence is better.
I mean, we have a whole video. We have camera angles. We all see the damaged gloves.
That's fine. But once again, all right. So you have damaged gloves, right? But now you got to prove damages. It's me saying, listen to the comment.
Everlast already said.
I'm just saying to you, all right. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying to you, right? You can play them the audio. You can show them footage. You can do all that. Nothing's going to be more powerful than placing those gloves in front of the jury and saying, my guy got beat with these. My guy was punched with these. Look at these official gloves. Look at what boxing gloves are supposed to look at, and look at these. We had these examined, and it found out that this was wrong with this glove. This was wrong with this glove. This was wrong with this glove. And these gloves pounded my fighter. Look at my fighter on the floor. My fighter was never knocked out like this.
I would say this. You know what?
He was knocked out like this by me. These gloves. Look at these gloves. I'm telling you, nothing's more powerful than that, G.
I'm gonna pull a Law and Order objection for no reason and be like, why? I'll be like, yo, his team reviewed the gloves. What we talking about here? You know what I'm saying? And if they looked fine going into the fight,
I'll get into that. I'll get into that a little later. His team didn't review the gloves before fight, though. That's completely different. His team reviews the gloves,
that's the problem.
But that's why they're asking about the chain of command, G. See, you're overlooking certain things. That's why they're asking about chain of commands. They're saying what happened to these gloves after we reviewed them. Who had them next? Who had them next? Who had them next?
They reviewed it, when
just
they all
like
sat down, when they all
sat
sat
like
down,
a dope case, right? So
can you hear me? When they all sat down, reviewed the gloves, right?
But it's different. They review the gloves.
Mm-hmm.
G, that's not how it works. I'm gonna tell you. No, G. All right, so chain of custody, right? I'm gonna break it down to you, not using boxing gloves, but chain of custody, right? If you get pulled over and they find drugs in your car, right? The cops confiscate the drugs, right? From the moment the cops confiscate the drugs, they have to keep track of who's in possession of those drugs, right? So who's in possession of the drugs? That's the chain of command, the chain of custody. So now they need to keep track of everyone who's in possession of those drugs. And people get off on cases where they had drugs if they can't say who was in possession of those drugs, because now you prove whether or not the drugs that are actually in the courtroom belong to the person, or the drugs that were taken from that person's car. What I'm saying to you is, yeah, at one point they reviewed gloves and the commission signed on it. Then that's what he's saying. The supervisor and the person takes the gloves and then they put the gloves somewhere. They're saying, where did he put them? Who was in possession after that? And then who was in possession after that? Were those gloves ever turned back over to TC and his team? Can you prove to us that these are the same exact gloves that we signed off on? because they don't look like the gloves we signed off on. That's what they're saying. That's why they're asking about the chain of custody.
No. I'm not mad at that, right?
Okay.
Again, y'all can ask for all of that good stuff. And I already said, sue the commission, sue Everlast, right? Everlast, number one, seeing that Everlast is a multi-million-dollar company, and they already acknowledged that they sent defective gloves, right? So now I think the real issue is Avanesyan wants a no contest. And I'm just like, yo, fam, you really lost, though. That's the only thing I'm making the point of. Like, hey, if they're like, hey, you know what, this just wasn't fair, whatever, I get it. You and Trill are going to tell the official, yo, G, what's right is right, and I understand. But watching that fight, bro, I'm sorry. My man got work for the team. I know y'all stop. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what y'all about to say. Yo, G, you know what's right is right.
I might give it to all the pressure I've been receiving on Twitter. You don't know.
Nah, man, I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. Like, watching the fight, Avanesyan, salute to him. But when I seen that two-piece, I don't know, man. Like, yeah, we could blame – because to me, if it was an altered glove, the padding up top would have been, like, thinner. It would have been wrinkled. It would have been something where it's like, all right, bro, this is to advantage. But ripped at the seams, how is that advantageous to Crawford in that fight? That's what I want to know. So then I will say this.
I'm gonna let it rock because I want everybody to get in there. All right. I watched that fight too when it was uploaded for free because I had paid for it. Now we all know boxing gloves are like this.
Mm-hmm.
Several times in that fight, I seen Crawford able to open the glove, like completely open the glove in a way in which you can't open a new pair of gloves to protect, to block, to parry shots. His glove is like fully open like this.
Synthetic leather, bro.
Okay, now you give me synthetic leather. Well, let me ask you a question. If he was able to pick off shots, he normally wouldn't have been able to pick off by being able to open the glove more. Is that not an advantage? You guys are so set on. You guys, hold on. You guys are so set on the advantage being whether or not he needed those gloves to knock out Avanesyan. What if he needed those gloves to defend himself better? And what if they gave him a better defense? And what if they prevented Avanesyan from knocking him out? See, these are the things that people get short-sighted on when you're biased. When you're biased, all you're looking at, he didn't need the gloves to knock him out. What if he needed those gloves for his defense?
But is it really? It's not necessarily a bias. It's just watching the fight.
You're looking at it from a biased perspective. You keep talking about the advantage being to knock him out.
You made a good counter. That's why I was like, I'm gonna fall back. That's an excellent point. If I had a bias, I'll try to find an excuse. I can't find an excuse for that. You got that, But again, even within your example, I'm still blaming Everlast because I'm like, how the hell does that even happen? This must have been, I'm telling you, bro. And I was joking when I said this to y'all, but I was like, them gloves look like those are gloves worn by like somebody who's homeless who had those for years. You know what I mean? So I'm like, the fact that can happen in a professional fight tells me Everlast has to take the hit. They have to fall on the sword. It's because Everlast, if I was Everlast, right, and I'm like, nah, I stand by the quality of my brand, then Everlast should be like, nah, you know what? We agree with Team Avanesyan. We need to see this glove autopsy because we claiming funny money tactics by TC and the Nebraska Commission. So at the end of the day, I'm going with Everlast because Everlast openly said, you know what, we messed up. We provided these flimsy gloves. It's on us. I don't know if it needs to proceed anywhere further. But again, you made an excellent point with the defense. If now he could open up the glove fully to protect himself, especially from hooks, that's an excellent point. So, yeah, that's why I said officially, yeah, I agree with y'all. It should be a no contest. But watching that fight, I'm just like, so now do we have to watch this again? Does the WBO have to reinstate this mandatory fight again? I don't know, man. It's going to be kind of difficult for TC because the fans want to see him with Spence. So that's where I think a lot of people are like, yo, let's just get past this and just move on to bigger, better pastures.
Dollar Bill.
He's never going to fight Spence. Fight's never going listen, I'm going to say exactly what I've been saying from the jump. Okay, I haven't changed my opinion at all. Okay, the commission dropped the ball. That was it. The commission dropped the ball. And I was sitting here and I was writing. I said the commission not doing their job and their due diligence. It left doubt, and it gave David an argument. That's it. Cut, dry. Let's go home. Let's cut the cake. Go home. That's what
Start off
happened.
with something, Trill. The first thing, Trill. what was the first thing you said?
You know, for real. Let's cut the cake, go home. Commission dropped the ball. That's what happened, and they got to pay. Everlast is trying to stay face because they got business and they don't want it to affect any of their other business. So yeah, they're gonna jump on the sword, but it's not their fault because that's not their job to protect the fighter. It's the commission.
It's their job to provide quality gloves, though. True.
It's the commission's job to protect the fighter once he's in that ring. They could have sent him any gloves with the thumbs missing. It's up for the commission.
What's funny is in that admission. Go ahead, G. I'll give you a response. Go ahead, G.
I just have a question. When they reviewed it together, when both teams sat down with the commission and reviewed those gloves, right? Don't they have to put them on? Like TC has to put them on, right?
Yeah, but that's what you got to see the argument and say what happened after TC and inspected those gloves. What happened afterwards? Was those the same gloves, or were they? We don't know now because the commission didn't do their due diligence.
That's who put the logo on TC's gloves.
Exactly.
They're saying that they didn't see a TC logo on the gloves like they're used to seeing. G, they're making the argument that those weren't the same pair of gloves that were the
argument. I'm trying to understand because I get what y'all are saying. However, why would Everlast agree? It's not like Everlast didn't see the fight. You could see. I remember I was like, "Yo, it even got the TC logo on there." So these are custom made gloves. So it's like
I just said, they're just saying they just staying face. Just staying face. They don't want to. That's what it happened.
Can I add to that, Trill, real quick? Here's why, G. Because what they're trying to do, like Trill said, is they're trying to be professional. If you look at their admission, they say it was a defective pair of gloves. Mm-hmm. We also sent a backup pair of gloves to be replaced. And for the commission to do it, the commission reviewed the gloves and said, why do you think they wrote all that, G? They wrote all that to take the responsibility off of them and put it on the commission.
We're supposed to.
In their admission, they're saying, yeah, we made an effective pair of gloves, but the commission reviewed them and said it was okay to allow the fight to continue, so blame the commission.
It's all in all, the commission dropped the ball. Cut the cake, let's go home. It is. They have to pay. No, I don't know if it helped them in any way, but it created an argument. Now you got a no contest or whatever. Listen, we all sit here and we did a prediction. We all thought that TC was going to win, right? But now you done created some doubt because of the commission not doing their job. Soon as you see, it's just, I said it. We just noticed as defective gloves, it means stop the fight, and then you get the new gloves, and then let the party continue. That's how you do it. And not know, oh, well, he's going to knock him out anyway. Let's just get the show on. Exactly. Because when you do stuff like that, stuff like this happens. Lawsuits happen. Now you're going to have to pay. That's all. The commission dropped the ball.
Commission dropped the ball, and you heard that from the commissioner. TBE.
All right. This is a lot. And when we spoke about this last week with the busted gloves, now we got more information on it. It just shows you, like, yeah, I watched the fight, and David, you want the competitor to face TC on that night. Like, you know, we needed somebody more. But you the skill, you in the ring. You stepped in the ring. You stepped to the competition. You gave what you had. That doesn't default you from the wrong that was done with these busted gloves. And I'm gonna say this: it falls on many parties that I blame for this. What just happened? What happened last weekend? And it's the commissioner is. There's no hands down. The commissioner's at fault because when the gloves
Whoa.
I think he misspoke. No. He
The
misspoke.
commission's at fault.
That's what he said.
yes, the commission is at fault.
I didn't do nothing wrong. I would have stopped the fight. TBE. I would have stopped the fight.
I would have stopped the fight. I would have switched them out. I would have made it like we need a halftime break, whatever.
Those got something to eat. You know what I'm saying? I would have stopped the fight.
You know, we can't just say, "Oh, this guy's food."
Trust.
We can't just say this guy's food.
Pretzel real quick. We gonna be here for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go get your food, go get your popcorn, get a refill. You know, but we can't just say this guy's food, which he was, and continue with the fight. But if the gloves are busted, you have to switch them out. You have to do something to make sure it's a fair fight. Because then, if you don't, you leave the door open for lawsuits, which what we have right now. And on David's side, I agree that he had busted gloves. He wasn't fighting fair. It was an equal fight. My gloves were perfect. My gloves were intact. I hit this man with everything I got. My gloves never busted. My gloves never broke. The leather on my gloves were real. Or whatever. I wasn't using Everfast. But, you know, you got to look at it from a even position. Like both sides should have an even playing field. And I know TC is the better fighter. But you guys dropped the ball when you guys didn't do what was right. You guys just was like, okay, I can fight with busted gloves. I'm gonna fight with busted gloves. Now you leave it open for him to press charges, and that's what he's doing. He's filing a lawsuit. He feels he was wrong, and whatever happens after this, it happens because the parties in charge didn't handle it properly, and yeah.
Did Avanesyan say he wants a rematch?
I don't know what he's fighting for.
Because I'm like, yo,
that
was crazy. I don't think he wants to go through that again. Mm-hmm.
You probably don't trust boxing anymore.
I promise you that BLK payout.
That's because he's seen his maker. You know what I mean?
Don't trust boxing anymore after that.
Trust me, I swear that BLK payout wasn't nothing worth another rematch, man. He's probably like, yeah, I signed the contract to fight for this type of money. He's probably fighting for rent money at this point.
Yo,
but
what are you talking about? Yo, Ned, have you heard of David Avanesyan before this BLK fight?
Yo, listen. I'm just saying he signed a contract to pay for his rent.
Nah, man, you hating, bro. All right,
I'm not hating. I'm just speaking facts, So he probably the contract BLK Prime gave him, not Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime probably like give you a nice pillow in the bed or something to sleep on. But man, BLK Prime just gave him rent money.
Career, bro. It was probably his biggest payday of his career. Let's just be real.
I don't know about all that. I'm not speaking numbers. I'm just speaking what I saw. But I'm just saying, after this fight, I don't think he wants a rematch with this company. But how this company handled this fight.
Again, the company has nothing to do with the commission, then. Just to let you know, there's a clear distinction between the promoter and the commission.
Good night, bro. Good night.
When I say information, you correct me. But you can let him spew lies right now, just like let him rock. He's clearly
because it don't matter what you do. It don't matter. It don't matter. You understand what I'm saying?
Just saying.
You're right.
It don't matter what you do. If you hold Ned's feet to the fire and correct him, people are going to say you bullying them, right? If you keep that, they're going to keep saying you interrupt him. Just let him spew whatever and let people get from it, whatever they get from it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
We all had doubts when TC decided to go with BLK Prime because ain't none of us heard of this company. This is something like overnight. You're gonna pick an overnight company, and when you pick an overnight company, you get a a commission that doesn't know when to call a fight, when you have busted gloves, and you don't know when the ref is like, no, this doesn't work, and then now when you it's negligence. That's what it is, G. It's negligence on this part. This company. This is who to blame. This is the big fish. Then next is the commission. Then next is TC's party. Because if you've been fighting your whole career and your gloves rip, I got to switch on my gloves. I got to switch on my gloves. You hear me? You got it. There's people to blame here, and they let this thing happen. And when you let this go on, everybody's to blame for what happened that night. Yes. David was not on the level of TC.
I'm blaming $2 bill.
I know you gonna blame. You ain't gonna blame the other commission, but you gonna blame this commission. That's messed up.
No. I'm blaming BLK Prime Commission. Trevor, you got nothing to do with this. I'm just saying, when you are hosting an event and things happen and you don't have the rules in order to make sure things are make sure things go right, it's negligence. And David has all right to sue every party in charge or every party involved that was there that night that had money to be made, and he got knocked out because TC's gloves, Everfast gloves, busted, and that's what it is. There's no. I would have done the same thing. Oh, his gloves ripped? I'm suing. I got knocked out. His gloves ripped? I'm suing. They let the fight happen. His glove ripped in round 2. They didn't even go. He got knocked out in round 6. The fight didn't go 12 rounds. Your gloves busted that fast. Suing, and you let him fight like that with ripped gloves?
No.
It don't matter it don't matter. What happened after that? If the gloves ripped and you said it could go on, that's a lawsuit. I don't care. It's like water on a mall floor. If it says if it's wet and there's no slip fall sign, and I walk and slip, I'm suing.
Oh,
that's that. That's that. Oh, stick right here. Let me walk the corner again. Boom. My back, my neck, my back, my ankles. Thank you.
This is a question just not addressed to Ned, but to anyone. When did the tears in the glove, the rips in the gloves appear? Like, what round was that?
I don't know. All I know is before the start of the 6th round.
At the end of the 5th, that's when everyone noticed it. I just want to know what round.
You should subscribe to BLK Prime to watch the whole fight. And
I actually did subscribe to them, man. Yo, man, listen. Hey, yo, whatever Ned's talking
earlier.
Yeah, he did say he saw it earlier. Yeah,
that's why I'm curious what round. You know,
we don't know what could have happened. It's just so many. Just because the commission dropped the ball.
I'll give y'all that.
And
we don't know what happened.
One more thing.
Finish. You finish cooking.
One more thing. Everlast should not jump on the sword for this because they sent a second pair of gloves, and because the party involved did not choose to switch out, they should not take any blame for that. Like we sent you a second pair of anything, any malfunctions happen.
Yes, preach on it, man.
No. Nah, come on.
No. Hear me out. If they switched to the second pair and they didn't break, then it's a good fight. We're not complaining. Hold on. We're not having this argument right here. Go ahead.
Hold on. But Ned, walk with me. For one, what happens if Avanesyan got knocked out, let's say round 2, with those same defective gloves? Are Everlast now at fault?
No, because they sent a second pair.
Oh my God. Listen to my question. Hypothetically, Avanesyan gets knocked out in the 2nd round with those same defective gloves. Is Everlast now at fault, Ned?
No, because they sent the second pair in case of malfunction. You get what I'm saying? They covered their behinds, man. They covered their behinds.
I'm declaring this asked and answered. It was asked and answered by TV.
Yo, they sent a second pair. If the party involved chose not, if the party involved chose not to use the second pair, that's on them because they was we sent multiple pairs of gloves in case they malfunction.
Ned is King Kong conscienceless.
If they sent the second pair and the party involved chose not to, that's the party that chose not to use the second pair. That chose the people who said, "Oh, it's just a little tear. You good? Go back in the ring." If
And
he's just fooled,
just
go
to
knock
add-
him out.
I'm shocked we still going through this.
I'm
shocked.
just saying.
Hold on,
And
but
like,
Ned,
how is this wrong?
but
He
Ned,
said
you're also
multiple gloves,
assuming-
and you did not choose to use another pair. You just chose to fight with the malfunction ones. That is on you, my brother. Like, that's not on the company.
You're making the assumption.
Multiple pairs just in case.
Again, you're making the assumption that the second pair also weren't malfunctioned.
But if they
It's from the same
malfunction, then
brand.
that
It's
is
from
on
the same brand.
Everlast. That is on Everlast. But if you chose to box in gloves that break and rip, and you visually see that they're ripped and broken, and you choose to go fight the man in front of you, that is on you. That you chose. You had the option to go change out your gloves, but no, you choose not to. You said, "Oh, I can fight in these. Cool." That does not fall back on the company when you set multiple pairs that can replace the broken ones. And if they break again, you have another pair. But if they break again, then if they break two times,
I get what teams. I get
once,
what
shame
the
on me.
TV is saying.
Twice, shame on Everlast.
Yeah,
But
I
they
get
didn't
what
choose the
TV is
second
saying.
time. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody need to pay, not
Yes,
just Everlast.
everybody.
The commission
But
needs to pay,
Everlast,
and TC needs to pay. Everybody needs to be held accountable. That's what the TBE is saying.
sue everybody up in that biz. You feel me? Sue everybody up in that establishment. That's all I'm saying. Sue everyone. Even the fans. They was bullying.
Nacho gets sold. He want in on it.
Yes. If you heard a boo from the C-section,
okay, to please be the voice of reason right now. Even if
if you hear a boo from the C-section, sue them too because they was in on it.
Oh my God! Word. Got you, Ned.
Yo, bro, I don't intervene with Ned when he's chefing up whatever he's chefing up. Because you know what? I noticed there are people who order that dish. There are people who order that dish. You just gotta let my man Ned.
Cool.
Hey, you ever there's some brand,
you know
there's some brand of chips, bro. I look at it and be like, who the hell would eat this garbage? And then as soon as I walk away, someone runs and be like, I've been looking for this. And then they go and they buy it. And I'll be like, someone actually eats this mess. Mm-hmm. Like, they sell all types of food for a reason. And people, so Ned is chefing up his specialty for the specials. And you gotta let him do that.
The Ned Daily Special, man.
Now, hold on. I agree to a degree. But when Ned is too negligent, we have to step in. That's why I'm like,
I was negligent.
I would argue to you, G.
Right,
when Ned is negligent, that is when we need to step back the most.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I was not negligent. Who was negligent was BLK Prime. They were negligent in hiring proper staff, proper referees, proper commissioners.
BLK Prime has nothing to do with the Commission of Nebraska, bro. This is what you have to understand. They're a promotional company. The commission,
David, you got the commissioner of Nebraska, the commission of Nebraska,
not the promoters, bro. You know what I'm saying? The
commissioner of Nebraska is held at fault, and Everlast, and TC's Can, and the refs involved because the refs could clearly see.
Hold on. Now you blaming the ref?
Yeah, because the ref could clearly see. The ref caused the fight, right? The ref could clearly see.
The ref did the right thing. The ref called the timeout. The ref brought it to the attention of the commission. The commission told the ref after this round, we're going to replace him. And then the ref went back to doing their job. So how can you blame the referee, bro?
All right, so the ref did their job. Cool. But still, mad people are at fault for what went on that night. You should hold everybody accountable. Like, you didn't have the proper staff hired to handle the job properly. Yes, David, I'm going to say this clearly. David was not ready to fight TC that night because TC was whipping him out. But when the gloves rip, switch them out. We don't need this type of problems. Like, you need people in your corner to be like, we don't need a lawsuit. Switch the gloves out. There was nobody there to say switch the gloves out. No, we're going to fight with these broken gloves. And you leave the door open for a lawsuit. Guess what? Everybody getting sued. And that's that.
Ned, what happens when you leave the door open, Ned?
Everybody getting sued. That's that. Everybody's getting caught in court. You getting subpoenaed. You getting subpoenaed. You getting subpoenaed. I'm Oprah in this. You feel me?
Yeah. This dude crazy, man. Oh, thank goodness Ned is not a lawyer. Thank God. And thank goodness he's not a judge. My God, you know what I mean?
Yo, if there was a lawyer, he'll be the illest lawyer. You know why? Everybody would get off ineffective assistance of counsel.
You don't even know what that means.
That was him.
And there's a
Like,
win, baby.
We gotta release him. They're like, we gotta release him from the pen because he wasn't properly represented.
A win is a win, baby. That's a W.
Yo, it is true. Yo, you remember that movie with Damon Wayans or one of the Wayans? I can't remember. The lawyer was so terrible, right, in court, and the judge was like, "Since you were so poorly represented, I'm gonna let you go."
He was like, I want him.
Yeah, I want him. And he was smiling at. He winked at him, closing his briefcase. Oh God! Listen. Every week, like the last few weeks, we come in here. We got a list of topics we want to get through, and I think maybe this week we'll get to all of them. But then we do a segment like this, and I realize we have no chance. We have no chance of getting through every single topic. Oh man! All right, so let me just jump in, man. It's been crazy. All right, a few things. One, right? People blame the victim. I think that's ridiculous. Like, you can't blame the victim. I'll give an example. Luis Rusto versus Billy Collins, right? Luis Rusto and his team, they took padding out of the gloves. And I don't know if you're a diehard boxing fan, you probably know about the story. If you don't, you should look it up. Anamar Lewis. They took padding out of Luis Rusto's gloves, and he beat on Billy Collins the entire fight with no padding in his gloves, right? And then at the end of the fight, Billy Collins Sr. is going to show love, right? Because and he feels Rusto's glove, and he goes, "Yo, there's no padding in this glove." That's when he calls the commission over, and they're like, "Yo, check his gloves. There's no padding in his gloves." And that's when they find out that Luis Rusto took all the padding out and he cheated to beat Billy Collins. Now, why is this important? This is a dad, bro, in the corner with his son. You think he would knowingly let someone put hands on his son with defective gloves that were tampered with? No, he wouldn't. He had no idea. That's how easy it is to actually be in a fight and not know that the person is wearing gloves that were tampered with or gloves that are defective. So everyone trying to put it on Avanesyan and his team saying like, "Oh, well, he should have known," or "Why didn't he?" Yo, things happen so fast in that ring. If you don't always know.
R.I.P. Billy. R.I.P.
Yep. What I do know is people put their faith in the commission to do what's best for their safety. That's what we do know. So when Billy Collins Sr. was sitting in that corner, he's thinking, "There's no way Luis Rusto's beating up my son like this." And you got to see Billy Collins' face, right? He's thinking he's doing it naturally.
To retina in his eyes.
Yep. It don't look like boxing. Yeah, but what's keeping Billy Collins Sr. calm the entire time is, at least I know the commission did its job, and this guy's just a hell of a fighter until he touches those gloves, and that's when he recognizes it. I'll give you another example. Miguel Cotto, Antonio Margarito. That happened when in my lifetime I'm watching this fight live. I'm watching this fight with Trill, I think. We rooting for Miguel Cotto. We going crazy. Cotto whooping Margarito. And then all of a sudden, Margarito's punches started thudding. And Miguel Cotto started reacting crazy. Now, this is in the later rounds.
You can hear it in the beginning of the round. You didn't hear no thudding noise. Later, as the fight goes, you can hear like a bat. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and usually people lose sting at the end. And then there were other signs of this. Like Margarito fought, wasn't he the one who fought Paul Williams before Paul Williams got knocked out?
Before he lost. Before he lost.
Katana.
Not even that. Even Kermit Cintron. Plenty of fighters have said there's something. They just thought he comes on late. They didn't know that pasture of pirate gets hardened by the sweat and everything. Yeah. So I watched. Listen,
bro. Miguel Cotto was my man. I'll be honest with you, I haven't met too many people who don't like Miguel Cotto as a fighter, but I'm sitting there rooting for Miguel. And at one point in the fight, Miguel just straight up takes a knee to avoid getting hit. And this is Miguel Cotto. We see Miguel in there with Pacquiao. Everyone take the punches. He took a knee to avoid getting hit. That's how you know something wasn't right.
And this is before any loss. This is before any losses. This is when Miguel used to he get knocked down. I remember the Torres fight what made me fall in love with Miguel Cotto. You know what I'm saying? Where he got dropped by the kid from Colombia, right? Torres was Colombia, right?
I don't know what Torres is from, but I know that right hand.
Torres dropped him. Miguel came back to stop him and win the fight. This was the Miguel Cotto, and it's hard to talk about it now. Like even if you go back and it's hard to even watch that fight. Even to be honest, you can't even. It's not even fair. Like what happened to Miguel Cotto because he lost something in that fight.
Never the same.
Never the same.
None of those guys were ever the same. Paul Williams, Kermit Cintron, Miguel Cotto, never the same.
Miguel was crying tears of blood. I remember that. And he had to sit there with his dad. His dad, like one of the last memories he had of his dad. I don't even want to talk about it.
Yeah, but getting back to it.
Yeah, it was horrible.
We watched that fight. Yeah. And again, there was cheating going on. And nobody knew it. Miguel's corner, again, you got his dad, you got his people, you got people who love Miguel Cotto in his corner. They don't even know what's going on. So to sit there and say, well, why wouldn't you say something at the time? It's not that simple. They place their faith in the commission. They believe the commission is checking this. They believe the commission is doing all this. And no, it doesn't always work. So one, everyone trying to blame Avanesyan and saying, well, he's being a sore loser. Nah, let's not act like there aren't examples of corruption in boxing where people actually got in the ring and were about to commit murder on someone. Well, I forced it with about to commit murder, but they could have. When you look at the way Miguel Cotto was reacting, he could have. And Trill, Billy Collins, right? Junior, he killed himself, right?
Yes. Because of not being able to fight, not being able to support himself.
So maybe he didn't commit murder in the ring. Yeah, maybe he didn't commit murder in the ring, but that young man killed himself after because of that. So come on now. You can sit here and say like, oh, well, we can't relate it to that. Come on, man. The beating that man took in that ring. Now, let's get back to this too.
If you look up his face, if you Google his face, they even did a documentary on it. That's how bad it was. If you look at his face.
No, you're right. They should go look at his face. They should go look at Miguel Cotto's face.
Yeah.
Go look at the fights. No one in attendance knew until it was exposed later. And I love Felix Trinidad. And Nassim Richardson explained this too. Before the fight with Bernard Hopkins, for the state they were in, Trinidad was going to wrap his hands in a way that was illegal in that state. And Brother Nassim said he can't wrap his hands that way here. So there was a controversy with the hand wraps before the fight. Brother Nassim also stated, for people trying to make Trinidad look like a cheater, Trinidad wasn't trying to cheat. It was just the rule for the state they were in. He knew that Trinidad couldn't wrap his hands that way, so he took advantage of the rule. He said, but Trinidad, what'd you say, bro?
I was going to say R.I.P. Brother Nassim, because he was the one that was in Sugar Shane's corner when they found the block and Antonio Margarito's. So shout out to Brother Nassim.
So Brother Nassim, 2 times.
Doing his due diligence.
You can't wrap your hands that way. What'd you say, G?
Nah, I just say he be on it.
You know? Nah, he do. He knew his stuff. He said, you can't wrap your hands that way here. He said it. Nothing major. He said Trinidad wasn't trying to cheat. For all those people trying to make it seem like Trinidad was a cheater, he said Trinidad wasn't doing nothing illegal. He said you could wrap your hands that way in any other state. But the state they were in, that was the rule. So he took advantage of it. Said, Trinidad, you can't wrap your hands that way here. He said, With Margarito, he saw that and knew something was up immediately. What happened that fight? Shane went out there and cooked that boy. Flat out embarrassed him. He looked like he didn't have his weapons with him. You know what I'm saying? And then after that, Miguel Cotto had a rematch with him at Madison Square Garden. I was at that fight. Complex was at that fight. Miguel Cotto ended up stopping him because his eye. And they said to Miguel, did the punches feel different? He was like, come on. Of course they felt different. Said, do you believe he cheated against you? Yeah, Miguel Cotto was like, absolutely he cheated against me.
After they stopped that fight, Miguel looked at him for 5 minutes long. It was like the longest death stare after that second fight. If he stood at him, he stared at him like
yo, somebody.
And Miguel had Emmanuel Stewart at that time, right?
He was looking at him.
Yeah. Yeah. So look, all I'm saying to you is, for all you acting like, oh, it's on the corner, yo, there's plenty of examples in boxing where there was evidence in time in the revealing that there was cheating, but people, you know, in the moment, they don't always know. Were you sitting here noticing split in gloves? We get views on television that you don't see in the corner. We get close-ups. We get replays. They don't get to see that in the corner. You're sitting there thinking that everyone is privy to the views you're getting. When we sit in the arena and we got the Jumbotron and we looking up, everyone don't got that. Especially if you gotta look at it and say, would you have been able to pinpoint those splits in the glove, right? From the corner. And then if the first time you knew about it was going into the 6th round and the commission looked at the gloves and said it was approved, you would think they did their due diligence. So
no, you wouldn't. Well, I mean, personally, I'd have been like, nah.
What would you do, G? All right, so G, what's
like,
your remedy?
Yo, fix his gloves right now.
So what's your remedy? Again, you're assuming that they had the vantage point that everyone else had. Which you can't.
I'm talking about between at the start of the 6th, when the ref took him to the side and they're reviewing the gloves, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is where you now know something's wrong with the gloves. I'll be like, my man ain't fighting until they replace those gloves.
But they approved it to go on. So what is your remedy? Your remedy is either you get a guy out, you say you're not going to let him go out, they're going to say he quit, and they're going to call the fight.
Nah.
So then what?
But if with tempered gloves, you at least got a case to now.
How do you get that? See, this is what I'm saying. It's easy to be a revolutionary. It's easy to be a Monday morning cornerback. But like you pointed out to TBE, and it can't work both ways. This was Avanesyan's biggest opportunity. This was his biggest payday. This was his biggest moment. So you think Avanesyan is going to quit on the stoop in the biggest moment of his career when the commission says
to quit? What I'm saying is this: his corner, and again, this
corners don't have that type of power. G. That's what I'm trying to say to you.
It's still his corner didn't even say anything, so it's like
because they relied on the ruling of the commission. The commission said they were going to allow him to continue. Remember, it's not his corner. The corner's supposed to stop the fight if he's getting beat badly, if they know something's wrong with him and he can't continue, everything like that. None of that fell upon his corner. The commission's responsibility is to deal with equipment and everything else. So it's not his call from the corner to say, I'm not going to let my fighter go out. That's like if someone got hit with a low blow and I'm in the corner and I know my fighter got hit with a low blow and I'm like, give him his 5. You're not going to give him his 5? Well, then I'm pulling him out of this fight. Okay, then you lose, motherfucker.
That's how the equivalent. The equivalent will at least be, come on, ref. You see this dude's hitting them low. So then now the ref is now going to pay attention to the low blows. You get what I'm saying?
The ref was aware of the splits because the ref was the one who brought
Terence. If the commissioner's like, yo, like think about it. If G was a commissioner and I hit y'all with the we'll deal with that next round at the end of this round. Right? I'm assuming the other corner would be like,
yo, say that to the corner. He said it to the ref. The commission said it to the ref. And again,
the corner
you're assuming again, you're making the assumption, and I'll be honest with you, like I'm not big on the fight. I didn't even really watch the fight like that. I skimmed through it, but you're assuming that Avanesyan's team was aware of that in the moment, and there's nothing to support that. That they knew the commission said we'll change the gloves out in the next round, or anything. What they saw was a fighter go to the commission who could have been going there for any reason. And the commission saying, okay, to go back to your corner, the fight's back on. So they're thinking the fight's back on. Now, to sit there and suggest again that they should have known about the split because people are watching it on 60, 65, 70, 80-inch screens, and they're not. People are hearing the commissioner on, Dolby Digital speakers, and they're not.
Question. Okay. I need you to be 100% objective when I ask this question.
Man, don't act like I'm not.
Nah, I gotta ask this question. Clearly, Avanesyan's team has a solid case for whatever. Now, I'm saying, Caden, you're now representing the Nebraskan Boxing Commission as their attorney, right? What defense can you create for Nebraska's Boxing Commission to save their ass right now?
Settle.
Plead. Yeah, plead out. Plead out. Plead out. Well,
you know what? I'll go out of order. I'll tell you why. Bro, you saw the rules. It's in that article. That's how they're supposed to behave. If someone, and we've seen it several times in boxing, someone's tape is flapping, the referee stops it, they tape it up. Right? Tyson Fury had this issue. One of his thumbs was messed up. They stopped it, got the new pair of gloves, put on Tyson Fury's glove. This actually happened to Tyson Fury in the fight. Right? Put on a new pair of gloves. What they did is a breach of their duty. They had a duty to change his gloves. They uphold the safety of the fighters. So once they breach their own rules, right, they're automatically at fault. They're automatically negligent because it's a breach of their duty of care. They had a duty to swap out those gloves and they didn't do it. So here's what you can't do. You can't look at the equipment, know the equipment is faulty, know the gloves are defective, and say, okay, we'll let you do this round with those defective gloves and then we'll switch them out the next round. And then ironically, magically, he knocks out the guy in the round that you gave him to use the defective pair of gloves. You never had to switch out the gloves. See, that's the whole point. It calls into the integrity. It calls in the integrity of the fight. And this is what I'm getting at. You can't breach your duty of care because everyone knows that the outcome, or you can't breach your duty of care because everyone knows what they think is going to happen. Right. So let's be clear. Right. This stuff matters. But people, so I'll give you an example. Like, if someone calls an ambulance, right, and ambulance arrives on the scene, and they know that this person is most likely not going to make it, person been shot, person been outside, leaking out, but they still got some life in them. They still fight. Do they not? When they bring him to the hospital, do they say, don't even waste that blood? We know he's going to die anyway. No.
Bro, they might do that.
Okay, and if they do that,
he got some good organs, we could use. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and if they do that, you know what? I know a lot of people think, but my point is, they're supposed to give him that blood transfusion. They're supposed to try to. That's their duty. And if they don't do that, and people, and you're right, maybe they do that. Maybe they do what the athletic commission did. But if people find out, they sue the pants off them. Medical malpractice happens all the time. You can't think just because you know the outcome that you don't do your duty. Because what happens is sometimes people survive, right? Someone's in a coma and they look at it and they say, okay, there's a 10% chance this person's going to come out of the coma, right? So it's the odds are slim to none, right? Basically. So they're like, all right, well, let's get rid of them so we can give this bed to someone else. You can't say you know that person was going to die anyway. When you pull the plug and tell that person, you know what I mean? So this is what I'm saying. Like, at the end of the day, They had a duty. They breached it. And you can't absolve them of their duty, and you can't say, oh, well, TC was going to win anyway. Let's be clear. I didn't even want to see this fight because I knew TC was going to win. I had no doubts TC was going to win. He was fighting the European belt holder. I don't even know what the EBO stands for. You know what I mean? Who cares what it stands for? All I know is that dude was not a legitimate opponent for Terence Crawford. So do I think he needed to cheat? I don't think he needed to cheat. But just because I don't think he needed to cheat doesn't mean that something didn't happen. And all I'm saying is they breached their duty of care. So all it's going to be is this your rule? What, 6.4? Is this your rule? Yes. So your rule says you're not supposed to let people fight with ripped gloves and blah, 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 this and that. Yes. In round 6, before the start of round 6, were you aware that TC's gloves were split such and such, such? Yes. Did you allow him to continue? Yes. Why? Oh, we were going to switch the gloves out. That's not. Did he hit David Avanesyan with a pair of defective gloves? Yes. To the extent of the damage, and it don't matter. If he would have done it with clean gloves, my point to you, G, would be, so why didn't you just let him do it with clean gloves? Everyone acting like he was going to knock Avanesyan out anyway. That only supports the argument that they should have swapped the gloves out anyway. If he was going to do it anyway,
I agree with y'all now, man.
If he was going to do it anyway, then why not change the gloves? In fact, if I'm playing a game or in a sport and people argue and dispute it, I give it to them. For example, if I'm playing ball, I can't tell you how many times I've done a Euro step, straight split someone, finger rolling. You travel. I'm like, I didn't travel. That's a Euro step. They say you travel. I say, you know what? Take it. Because when I beat you, I don't want to hear that I beat you off for travel in a Euro step. I want to beat you and everyone know that I beat you. You understand? So once they did that, it called into question. So I was going to run through a few things, G. You said defense, right? If I'm Everlast has a defense. Everlast defense is, one, they sent a backup pair of gloves. They never went to the backup pair of gloves. You want to say, what if those backup pair of gloves were defective? The point is, we never had to find out. And that's not Everlast's fault. That's the commission's fault. So had the commission gone to those second pair of gloves and those were defected and that cost, then Everlast would be on the line. But what Everlast did was they said, okay, we sent an defective pair of gloves. We also sent a second pair of gloves, and the commission said he can fight in those gloves. So you got to put it on the commission as to why they said he could still fight in a pair of gloves we acknowledge were defective. You see how that's damaging towards the commission. Here's the other problem for TBE. Go ahead, TBE. What you
no, I just want to cook first, and I just want to say something at the end.
All right.
We on the same page.
Yeah, the athletic commission, G, you're missing one key factor. This is a factor that everyone's missing that I pointed out. It's the Nebraska Athletic Commission. Terence Bud Crawford is from Omaha, Nebraska. Don't underestimate that for a second. Sometimes a fighter or an athlete is so important to the economy, they get God-like treatment. Don't believe me? LeBron James, Cleveland. When LeBron left Cleveland, people started burning his jerseys and people were upset with LeBron James. Many people said, oh, it was the decision. It was the way in which he left. Nah, look it up. LeBron leaving Cleveland meant their economy took over a $200 million hit a year. That means businesses had to close down. They lost money because people came to Cleveland for one reason, to see GOAT James, LeBron James. And when he left, the economy plummeted. I'll give you another example. Floyd Mayweather Jr. was supposed to go to jail. He fought Miguel Cotto. But the judge said, we are not going to lock you up yet until after the fight, because this fight means so much to the economy of Las Vegas, Nevada. Yes, think about that. Any other brother would have been under the jail. But Floyd Money Mayweather was so important to the economy of Las Vegas, Nevada, that he got to fight Miguel Cotto and then go to jail later. When a fighter means that much to the economy, and let's be clear, nobody's going to Omaha, Nebraska. You feel me? So the only thing Omaha, Nebraska doesn't have a professional sports team. Correct me if I'm wrong. They got the Nebraska Cornhuskers, the college football team. I don't know the last time they were good. Probably in the 90s. That's when I used to play with them in NCAA, like 98 on the original PlayStation, right? So they ain't been good since then. I don't even know what their record is now, but they got no pro teams. And Bud Crawford is it in Nebraska. And this is what you're missing. The Nebraska Athletic Commission violated their rules to let a boxer continue in gloves that were defective. And that boxer is from Omaha, Nebraska, and sold out. Oh, he didn't really sell out, but you know, a lot of his tickets was on Groupon, like 2 for 1, but had 17,000 people in the seats. Who else could do that in Omaha, Nebraska, except Terence Bud Crawford? And he's the one that got the preferential treatment by the Athletic Commission. That's a problem. Do you think Crawford would have if that happened in Las Vegas, you think that Bud Crawford gets to continue? I don't. If that happens in California, you think Bud Crawford gets to continue wearing those gloves? I don't. I think it happens in Omaha, Nebraska with their athletic commission, and I think that's what David Avanesyan's getting at. And David Avanesyan's saying, if y'all gonna let this man fight with ripped gloves, what else y'all let him do with them gloves? I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So let's be clear, that commission is on the hot seat. So we want to act like there's not corruption in boxing, right? We want to act like there's not corruption in boxing. I just pointed out several examples. So it's up to you to think what you want. But I'm going to close on this.
Before you close, can you now explain why BLK Prime is at fault for supporters of Ned?
You know what?
You don't have to answer. I was just joking.
BLK Prime. Unless Ned, I got you, Ned. I got you.
I can handle this easy.
I got you, TV. I can connect BLK Prime. If you want to add that this is a part of a bigger conspiracy, and BLK Prime didn't want them to swap out the gloves because it was their first major production, and it was pay-per-view, and they didn't want to look like amateurs. So they were actually the ones who refused to pause the event because they didn't want their first pay-per-view to look like an amateur show, and it would have hurt their bottom line. Then you could go after them. It's the reach, but it's still logical. It's still logical.
That's implying that now Nebraska is just corrupt. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I wouldn't do it, but I'm saying for the Netites out there, that's the argument right there.
For my Netites, all I'm saying is BLK Prime hired. They should be held accountable for hiring the staff that made the decisions behind this. So that is the reason why
the Nebraska Athletic Commission had all those employees hired before the fight was even a thought.
It's basically, man, the commission dropped the ball.
Yeah, that's what it boils down to. The most negligent party was the commission. Because even if you want to go to TC and you be like, TC knew his gloves were ripped. So you think he's supposed to give up the advantage he got? It's their job to catch him. You understand what I'm saying? That's like them dudes who got stickum on their gloves or whatever. You want them to tell the ref, I caught this pass illegally. They ain't gonna say nothing. TC did his job. You supposed to tell TC, yo, your gloves aren't approved or whatever. Unless he loaded them gloves, which I don't think he did. Unless TC loaded them gloves, he ain't do nothing wrong. They said keep fighting, so he kept fighting. What you want the man to do, right? So I think it could be a no contest, and I think realistically, it would be fair to make it a no contest. But if they don't, who cares? But the thing is, you can't act like wrong wasn't done to David Avanesyan. But I just want to address a few things. Yo, don't be extremely disrespectful on Twitter and then delete it later.
Who did that?
Disrespectful on Twitter and then delete it later. because people were like, oh, you got caught in the fake news. You got caught in the fake glove gate. Those gloves were fake, blah, blah, blah. So now that all the evidence out and it's proven that those were the real gloves, and that homeboy was fighting with the ripped gloves and it's not fake, you can't delete it now. You can't delete it. Just like you were trying to say, like, so here's the thing. If you want to try to say that I'm a TC hater, I couldn't care less, right? But when I'm calling out something that actually happened, and you want to make it look like I'm hopping on some fake stuff just because I want to make TC look bad, and then it comes out later that what I said was true, just know that you're the problem and not me. That's just proof that you're the problem and not me. All I did was talk about a situation that really happened, and if you really listen to what I said in that last video, I said, hand on my heart, I think TC would have beat him anyway. But it's about following procedure and protocol. Now the fight, now the integrity of the commission and the whole outcome of the fight is in question. That's what I said. I never said, oh, I'm trying to prove TC cheated. I never blamed TC for it. But you guys are so hot up for some of that TC loving that you don't hear what I said. You feel me?
Because people hear what they want to hear.
Yeah, because you want. Hey, listen, look, I don't even go at people like this, but it just baffles me. Like the way y'all like people are like, oh, y'all just because TC got that 10 million, blah blah blah. You don't got $10. The person writing that comment, you ain't got $10. But you happy about TC having 10 mil? Like, bro, what is that? That doesn't matter to me. None of that impacts my bottom line.
Yo, can I also add something too?
Yeah.
Like, and I've noticed this since we started. We're always labeled as a hater of something. Like, it don't matter what the topic is. Like, the beauty of this show is we rarely agree on anything. If we all four of us agree on something, you know there's something wrong. You know what I mean? But like,
it's an undisputed fact if we agree on
it. Somebody doing something greasy. But like, we always get labeled, y'all are this hater, y'all are Eddie Hearn hater, a top rank hater, PBC hater, da-da-da hater. It's like, I'm telling you, every other week we get those comments. So it's just one of those things, man. It's like, it don't matter what topic we talk about. Somebody's going to be butthurt because they're a fan of a particular fighter or a particular promotion, and then they're going to express it in our comments, man. So it is what it is.
Yo, I want to see all these guys win. And that's the truth. If you've been following us from the beginning, we've been promoting Wilder Joshua. Regardless of what side we on, we want the fight. We promoting TC Spence. Regardless of what side you're on, we want that fight. We want the big fights. We for boxing. Yeah, we like little fighters. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But unlike everyone else, I've told you, my favorite fighters got L's. Ben had L's. Because if you don't got L's or if you ain't come close, you ain't taking chances. So I'm not one guy who believes there's a boogeyman. There isn't one man in boxing that people don't want to fight. People will fight anyone. And if you think it's Terence Bud Crawford, I got a guy named Jerron Boots Ennis who's been begging for him. I know a guy, Virgil Ortiz, who's been begging for him. I promise you, there is no fighter in boxing that nobody wants to fight. And if you believe that, you are a fanboy or fangirl. Anybody can get it in this sport of boxing. And I know that. I just want to see the fights that are going to keep the sport alive. That's what we want. So just because we say something or whatever, it don't mean that, oh, all of a sudden I'm an Earl Spence fan. I don't dislike Earl, but Earl's never been my favorite fighter. Neither has TC. The point I'm making is if you can't be objective and you can't just flat out say, even if you're a TC fan, and I've seen some of these TC fans in the comment section, and salute to y'all, the ones who will say, I'm a TC fan, but even I admit they should have swapped out those gloves. That's all. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You're not saying like TC's a cheater. You're not saying that TC wasn't going to win. You're not saying that TC needed to cheat to win. You're just acknowledging what Trill said. The commission dropped the ball. And no matter how you try to slice the pie, the commission dropped the ball.
And I'm going to quote one of the illest brothers from Nebraska. I don't like that. Let us know how you feel in the comments section. Please like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram and Twitter. And please check out our podcast on all major streaming services. We're just getting started. We're the Boxing Bros.